You know, originally in Jurassic World, when they announced that they might do dino-human hybrids, I was hesitant at first. But after seeing this and what they did with the alien, the xenomorph human hybrid with Prometheus a little bit added, I'm down. Is there anything like this for the dinosaurs? What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, the man's too back at it with another spoiler review of Alien Romulus. So if you guys do not want to get spoiled about the movie, be sure to check out my spoiler-free review that I dropped a couple of days ago. And sorry for those who have been waiting for this one. I was gonna drop it yesterday, but yesterday I just wasn't in the mood. Today I'm going to do it. But before we get into actual beginning of the video, what's up, guys? Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. It's absolutely free. Number 2 on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Just 963 right now, and also maybe help with the YouTube algorithm, recommend it to more people. Maybe they could join that. Yeah. But with that being said, guys, let's get into it. And also do feel free to comment your thoughts on Alien Romulus down below for your spoiler thoughts. But anyways, the movie starts off where you're on current day Earth, which most of the Alien movies, you don't really visit Earth that much. Probably the only one that I can think of really is Alien 3. And this is the one where you, even though you're not there for long, you see what current day Earth is like. Or, well, since this is a mid-quel between Alien and Aliens, this is technically the first time you're on Earth, really. And I enjoyed the world building that Fede Alvarez did with this, with the sort of stuff that goes on down there. Also, you get introduced to your two main characters. Well, I would say both of them are definitely the two main characters. One in particular, which is Kaylee Spaney as Rain, which she did really phenomenal. And then also, I think his name is her synthetic brother. I forgot what the name of the character was, but he was great in here as well, where if you guys don't know what synthetic means, he's another android for this movie, where them two are kind of like a brother-sister relationship, where both of the Kaylee Spaney's parents died, and they're stuck on Earth, and they are trying to move to another planet, but they don't have enough credits to basically go to another planet. So that eventually leads to them meeting up with some of their friends, and the friends talk to them about a heist, possibly for a spaceship up in space, of course, that has supposedly the things that they need to help them get to another planet whenever they want. So that's basically the setup for them going to this specific spaceship, which, yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting way to put it, because in the first Alien, you really get shot straight into it, and you don't know why they're doing it, really. They were just sent out by their company. They got sent out there by their company without not a whole lot of explanation. And then this one, you understand why they're doing it. So then they get shot up into space, and you get this beautiful visual that we saw in the trailers with the sun in the background, the sun and space, which looked absolutely beautiful. Fede, again, did a great job with that. Also, I forgot to mention, you get these, I think the character's name was Bot. I don't care what his name was. But basically, you have the Richard character I was talking about in the spoiler-free review, and he's the iconic guy in the trailer that goes like, "There's something in the water! There's something in the f***ing water!" Where in this movie, he's very against our synthetic protagonist, because because in his past he lost his parents due to a synthetic android, so he has a little hesitance about this particular synthetic android, which I found really interesting, but I still didn't care about the character. You also have I'm trying to remember the actress's name. She's from Instant Family, and she's gonna be in Last of Us Season 2, where she's pregnant with a baby, and she and probably the guy that says, "There's something in the water, there's something in the effing water." Those are the only two really standout characters of the side characters, probably, I would say. But they're not really huge standout side characters. And also you got the cousin of the something water. There's something in the effing water, dude. So, which, he was just... we've seen that type of character before. He served its purpose, but he was you wanted him to survive, so there's that. And but pretty much all the other characters were just eh. So they go on the ship, they go to the certain room where they get fuel for their specific ship, so they can make the trip back to Earth or back to another planet. I forgot where it was, but basically that's what they do, and they didn't know it yet, but they're in the actual facehugger room, which we saw in the trailers with it, where the room's full of water, and then there's facehuggers, and they basically get locked in there. Also, they program the synthetic android with a new ID chip, which we've seen the scene in the trailer, but where he's just stuck in place trying to accept the new chip in his programming. So while that's happening, they're getting the fuel for the ship, and we get our introduction to the facehuggers for this specific movie. And I thought that facehugger sequence was absolutely awesome. Probably one of the best action sequences throughout this movie. And they're basically fending off the facehuggers while Rain and all the other protagonists are trying to get them out of there. So luckily they do end up doing that. But, oh, I forgot. Well, we'll get to that in just a second. But they successfully let them out, but the facehuggers still end up escaping. So you get a whole bunch of horde of facehuggers chasing after them, which that was a pretty cool sequence. Which leads them to a room that they were already in this zero gravity sequence. I forgot to mention that was absolutely awesome as well. That was a really cool sequence. And the synthetic android from the first movie, even though it's not the same synthetic android, it looks just like him from the first movie, is in here. Which I thought it was cool. But when I was alluding to my review, spoiler-free review, on Friday, about something spoilerific that I can't really talk about because it would be spoilers, is him in the movie. Because the actor notably is dead, and they do basically the same thing they did with Christopher Reeve's Superman. And the CGI, you could definitely tell he wasn't actually there. And I wish they could have done like a animatronic of some sorts that looked exactly like him, and they could have done that instead of having him in the movie instead, which they didn't end up doing. So whenever the CGI was very noticeable on his face that it was a fake synthetic android, I basically just kind of got turned off a little bit, even though I was still enjoying the movie quite a bit. But before so when they meet up with the synthetic android again, after he had tried to attack them a little bit earlier on, which I forgot to mention, all of them get surrounded in the room, this new room where the synthetic android is there, and the facehugger one of the facehuggers ends up getting in the room and attaches itself to I don't even remember what her name was, but basically the person in the trailer that you see, the facehugger coming out of her chest. That's when she ends up getting the facehugger there. So, where they're trying to get it off, but the synthetic android says, it's too late now. If you try to get it off, she'll die anyways. So, um, and, yeah, that sequence was pretty cool, because originally in the first Alien, you don't really get much of them trying to get it off a whole entire lot. That you do, but not as much as this one, where it happens real quickly with everyone there, and then the first movie they don't really do that. So that was a pretty interesting sequence. But while they're attempting to get the facehugger off and they're trying to get her back on the ship, back on the ship. Wait, no, not yet. I'm trying to remember beat for beat what happened in the movie. So the synthetic android that I think his name's David. No, David's from Alien Covenant and Prometheus. Let me just look it up real quick. Andy, that's what his name is. So Andy ends up realizing that the thing is not safe, and basically when it frees itself from her, he realizes that we gotta kill her because she has something inside of her, which of course we all know is the xenomorph. So where it causes a drama between Navarro and Bourne, where they rush to the ship because Andy's trying to kill them because they have the xenomorph in them, rightfully so. While Rain and Tyler are basically just trying to are going, Andy, what are you doing? Why are you chasing after them? So they eventually get onto the ship, and Kay has been sidelined because they found out that she is indeed pregnant. So she's laying down in the bed on the ship while Navarro and Bourne both get on the ship, and they try leaving in the spaceship, where Navarro is actually, you get that xenomorph pregnancy sequence where the chest burster is coming out of her chest. Obviously, with Kate going, what is going on? Why is that coming out through your chest with that whole entire heat ray thing? Which that was a pretty cool sequence, which ends up sending the ship flying straight into the big ship, the big ship Romulus. So while Andy and Rain and Tyler are all kind of still in the ship, but on the opposite side. So their goal throughout this movie is trying to get back to where their ship landed. So, Bourne ends up getting injured, concussed, and falls down a flight of stairs in that ship. So, and the xenomorph is let out, of course. So, which that birth sequence was probably, honestly, I would say probably that's the best face hugger birth sequence out of all the Alien movies, because it looked gnarly. So, but then we cut back to Andy where while Rain and Tyler are trying to figure out how to open the door, Andy ends up going back to the room where the synthetic android was from the first movie. So, and the synthetic android tries tricking him with his new ID chip that he has inside of him, saying, your goal now is to basically let the xenomorph go to Earth and basically to bring it back to Earth as a live sample. So, where Andy makes a swap. So that was kind of an interesting way to take it, where Andy now is less forgiving and is more willing to give up his friends, even though it's not his actual programming. So, where then it brings us to a sequence 2 where Andy, Rain, and Tyler are all surrounded by facehuggers in this one room where they have to go in there, and they find out there's this new aspect in the movie where you can't get detected by the specific facehuggers unless if you're very fast and also if you're very cold, because the room is very warm with them in it. So they basically just gotta go slow with the body temperature. So But Kay ends up trying to call them on their walkie-talkie while they're trying to sneak right past these facehuggers, which ends up setting off the facehuggers, where we have yet another chase sequence with the actual facehuggers. So where Andy, of course, is the fastest because he's an android. So the other two are fall asleep behind, and Andy starts shutting the door, where Rain and Tyler luckily just get out of there just in time and make it through the gap while the door's closing. So where they go, "Why did you close it that fast?" And Andy's programming goes, "Well, it was obvious that you were going to make it, so that's why I shut it as fast as I did." So obviously lying. Then, correct me if I'm wrong in the timeline. Now we got cut back to Kay, where she gets off the ship that's originally theirs in the big ship Romulus. So, which she eventually finds Bourne, who escaped from the ship, where them two are trying to find their way out of this, and they eventually stumble upon where a xenomorph with forming new skin, basically. So Bourne has this shock stick that he ended up shocking Andy a little bit earlier on in the movie. So he attempts to try to break the pod with the shock sticks, and stop whatever's coming out of that from getting bigger. So, which unfortunately for him, it fails, and also the acid from that ends up burning him alive and he dies. So, which that was pretty gruesome sequence right there with him burning to death, of course. But I forgot to mention before we got to that scene when Bourne and Kay reunite, it is revealed that Bourne is actually the father of Kay's baby, which originally I didn't pick up on, but once I watched the spoiler review for some of my other YouTubers, I went, oh, okay, so that makes sense then. So that's who the father was. So I thought that was interesting. While Kay is still trying to escape the xenomorph, and after Bourne dies, the xenomorph in its full form comes out of the egg and is now rampant and loose. So, which this next sequence I wasn't able to check out because I went to the bathroom during this sequence, but Kay ends up finding Rain, Tyler, and Andy, and is trying to get to them, but Andy's not opening the door, so Kay supposedly gets killed by the xenomorph, and the xenomorph takes her, while Rain and Tyler are going, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" And then while Rain is going, "This isn't like him. This is his program. This is his new program. We gotta get the chip out somehow." While they're trying to find a way out of there. So they eventually stumble upon Kay, which she luckily did not get killed off. So they end up saving her and putting her in an elevator that will bring her back to the top of the ship, while they also recovered these formulas that Andy wanted to take from this lab that had... We'll get more into that, what they're made of later, but from the videos from that specific lab, it shows that they impregnate you with xenomorphs from the blood as well. So Rain sends Kay up basically while they're shooting at... No, she doesn't send her up there yet, but basically they're fighting off xenomorphs, Tyler, Rain, and Andy. More Tyler and Andy. Well, yeah, Tyler and Rain, where Rain is about to get stabbed when she's tending to Kay, and Tyler jumps in and sacrifices himself for her, where he ends up getting impaled by the tail of the xenomorph and getting brought up to them while he's trying to make one last stand against all of these xenomorphs, while he gets his face bitten off by the second mouth of the xenomorph, calling back to that original sequence with the guy with the baseball hat in the first movie. So that was a cool callback, and you get to see more blood here, but it's again kind of a cut worthy scene, so as it's not super gory at all. Then, as I said before, Rain and Kay go up in the elevator, while also Andy got taken out by the xenomorph as well, where he got knocked out. So, Rain sends Kay up into the ship with the formula in the elevator, where supposedly the formula would help her, and Kay ends up injecting herself with it while she's still pregnant with that specific baby. So Rain goes back down for Andy and reprograms him, tries to reprogram him, which she successfully does, where now them two are trying to catch up to Kay into the ship, where you get this action sequence where they're killing xenomorphs, and now they're gonna have to turn on low gravity while acid blood from the xenomorphs are still floating in the air, so they gotta evade those and get back upstairs. So they back up into their ship, while also there's this elevator sequence where the low gravity turns back on, so where it's normal gravity now, while they're climbing up in the elevator shaft with other xenomorphs coming through. So and they eventually make it past them, and they get to the ship, which then takes us to this third and final sequence, which originally I was expecting a twist to happen, where when Kay is giving birth, I was kind of going, she's not going to actually give birth to anything, is she? She's just going to give birth to her actual born baby child that actually the serum did end up helping her, so Andy was right. That's what the plot twist I thought was when they went back on their ship. And no, this was the sequence that definitely would turn people off. I think that it would turn some certain people off from the movie and go like, what are you doing? And then there's some people that will love what they do with it, where it is, I believe, a xenomorph human Prometheus hybrid from the first movie. So, and it gives us a brutal birth sequence, I must admit, with Kay, with all the blood coming out and stuff, and then the head coming out. Oh my gosh, it was so brutal. While an egg comes out, and then the egg starts to open, and you see a person there. And I was going like, are they about to do what I think they're about to do? And yeah, they did. They did what I thought they were going to do. They did an actual xenomorph hybrid of some sort. So, which it doesn't grow fully yet, but when it grows fully and you cut back to Kay and Andy getting attacked by the thing while Rain is looking for it, and you see what it actually looks like, man, that looked really, the way they made the human hybrid it looked so nasty and so gnarly, and they did a good job with it, making it look so gross and so scary. With a certain sequences where it's trying to attend to Kay because it knows it's his mother, and it kills Kay. Well, or some people are suggesting maybe she's still alive. I don't think so. Also knocks down Andy. So you get this horror-like sequence where Rain is trying to run away from the human hybrid, while the human hybrid is chasing her like a horror movie character, and it looked so gnarly. Which takes us to where she's trying to eject the thing out of the ship, which she appears to do for the moment, but it's revealed that the human hybrid's still hanging on, which that was a pretty good jump scare sequence. Even though I knew it was coming, it was still a really big jump scare when Rain is hanging out of the ship. So Rain ends up, I forgot what she ended up doing, but I think she shot him into space. So I know that for sure. So, and the movie ends basically the same way Alien 1 ends, with Rain saying, well, I'm the lone survivor of Romulus, and this is me signing off. So Now we get to sequels, which, so the movie ends, of course. One of my mixed aspects of the movie was, are we going to do a follow up to this with these specific characters? Because I don't know if we are. Are we just gonna do a anthology with another set of characters where set in the Alien universe? Are we bringing Ripley back somehow, or are we going back to the Alien Covenant Prometheus trilogy, or are we just going to do a sequel to this? Because that is where I'm wondering where it's going to go. Because if they just forget this movie exists and don't even like really follow it up with anything, I feel as if that would be kind of a giant mistake and probably would make my taste of this movie lower. But, yeah, otherwise, anyways, let's bring out the toxic media yet again. And, yeah, still the same, an A-. I still really enjoyed this movie, and, no, an A, sorry, an A. Still really enjoyed this movie, definitely gonna be in my, at least, top 5 of the year. I loved it, or top 10, because there have been a couple heavy hitters this year, even though this year has been kind of lackluster. But with that being said, guys, be sure to comment your thoughts on Alien Romulus down below. Let me know if I missed anything in the spoiler review. But with that being said, guys, I'll see y'all on the next one, everybody. Peace.